Hey there, welcome to saas.unbound podcast. I'm your host, Anna Dana, head of growth at saas.group, a serial acquirer buying wonderful SaaS businesses to take them to the next level. And here I chat with inspiring founders and experts to get an inside scoop on how they made their business a success. And today with me is Lucian, CEO and co-founder at Anny, an all-in-one solution for every type of online bookings. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Hi, Anna.
Sure, anytime. And well, it's great to see you. We just saw each other last week, I guess, at our founders event in Hamburg, just before OMR. And to those who don't know what OMR is, it's like one of the biggest
One of the
marketing
biggest, I
conference
guess.
in
Yeah.
Europe. Yeah, pretty great stuff. Anyway, good to see you back, and let's get to it. Um, First of all, I'd love to start with your background and how it came to building Annie in the first place.
Yes, first of all, I originally studied mechanical engineering, so that has nothing to do with what I'm doing now as a SaaS founder. And my story began a long way ago. So I started doing businesses very early. I started with 16 as a DJ, played a lot of gigs at birthdays, school parties, and weddings, etc. And from that, I got into organizing my own events together with my brother. And we ending up organizing even larger events, which was the major pool party in Germany, one of the largest ones here with more than 1,500 guests attending. And from that, there were new challenges that we were confronted with. One of them was the logistics, also booking a lot of service for the events, booking the equipment, booking the location, and also selling the tickets. And from that, we thought, okay, we can do a better job than Eventbrite and Event Team Light back then. And we started building our own ticket shop. So I just Googled how to code a ticket shop and watched a lot of YouTube videos to learn programming. And yeah, kind of self-taught that along the study in Aachen. So that's how I got into the digital world of creating digital products. And also with this, a step of creating our own ticket shop, other organizers got aware of us and also wanted to use it. So we made a SaaS business out of it and created our first startup, which was called Event Buddy. And with Event Buddy, I got to know the startup world in the first place, which I didn't knew before. And there's still a great community in Aachen. We worked in a repurposed church in Aachen, which is a co-working space. So beautiful environment to really evolve and work on your ideas. And from that, we learned even more and got to know more challenges like operating a co-working space, which finally led to the idea of solving more than just ticket bookings, but actually any kind of bookings, also inspired by the room bookings and desk bookings in the co-working space. That's how I ended up founding Annie together with four great co-founders and solving the mission to make any resource shareable online.
Perfect. Wow. I mean, you could see my eyes getting like rounder and rounder the more you spoke, like from organizing a party to working at a church. I mean, that's quite a story. So, what is Annie now, and what's your customer?
So Annie now is a holistic booking toolkit, you could say, which enables any business to make any kind of resource like desks, parking, even people, events, courses, anything bookable online. And it's an abstract solution like others on the market, like you could compare to Shopify, which does make any product which turns any product into an e-commerce shop, and it doesn't matter which kind of product you're selling. And the same applies to any as a platform.
Okay. By the way, I love the name, but
Did you know
uh,
where it comes from?
no, please tell me.
Actually, the main idea was we were brainstorming the name in the church, and it got really late that night, and there was a lot of alcohol involved. And at some point, someone said, "We make anything bookable," And that's what I picked up, and I said, okay, any. So we do anything, anytime, anywhere. And that's how we got the name.
All right, so it's not a romantic story I kind of expected, but good enough.
No, no.
All right, fun. I mean, the way you describe it, I can see where the like the main differentiator is, but still, it's a booking solution. And when you started, there were quite a few on the market already. So how did you know that, oh, well, we'll just build another one and it's going to be better?
That's a good question. I think let's break it down into two parts. On the one hand, there's a lot of competition in this field already. That's true. But on the other hand, there's a lot of greenfield still in the market. Also, one of the motivations behind founding and creating this product is that I'm impatient with request forms. I hate the experience of filling some information and don't knowing how it will end up, waiting for the reply, waiting for the availability status, waiting for the price. And we wanted to give people this instant availability overview, instant price preview, and instant booking experience, like you're used to it from other experiences like Amazon. And this is the kind of greenfield that's still a lot in the market and underestimated. And on the other hand, the competition is mostly focused on special use cases like room bookings or event bookings or appointment scheduling like Calendly. And we are tackling this market as a whole by consolidating the booking stack, and that's our main differentiator. So we are allowing businesses to use less software and solve even more of their booking problems, because most of them are tired to have these micro SaaS solutions and manage them all at the same time.
All right. Okay. Thanks for walking me through this. So you mentioned at the beginning that it was you and four other co-founders. I mean, five
Yeah,
co-founders. That's plenty. Uh,
yeah.
how did you divide all the roles, and who ultimately was the decision maker, or how were the decisions made? Because while you're co-founding this massive tool, and I would assume everyone has a vision, and well, there's a lot to navigate in this kind of team. How did it work for you?
So I, as the CEO, was the main driver behind the mission and the vision, and I also brought the team together. I got Adrian, who I knew from working at the university, and my brother also got into the business. And then we learned, we got to know Oliver and Anna through the startup network and ecosystem in Aachen, which was great. So we brought all of them together, but the vision was already set in a certain way. And I think everybody just jumped on the mission because they were excited to solve this and solve it even better than anybody else on the market. And we were actually, it was quite beneficial to have these five co-founders with diverse backgrounds and roles. So we had expertise in marketing from Anna, sales from my brother, and also two people which studied who studied computer science. So they were very experienced in building things, and also me as the self-taught programmer and also the visionary when it comes to the product and how it should look in the end. So that's how we split the roles. And when it comes to decision making, despite having unequal stake in the company, we treated all of the co-founders as equal partners. So we did all the decisions in an equal way without just overruling someone.
Okay. Don't get me wrong, it sounds wonderful on paper, but I have to ask a question. Like, could you maybe give an example of like what were basically the descriptions of everyone's job? So not they don't get sidetracked, or they don't get kind of involved in something that is not their business per se, right? Because you're all co-founders, right? But you
Yeah.
have to kind of draw a line somewhere. So how do it work?
That's true. You need to define certain areas of expertise. And we had Anna as the head of marketing. So she was responsible for all the marketing material, the website, etc. We had Oliver as head of engineering. So he led our junior developers later. And Adrian as head of infrastructure, because in the beginning we knew that this software needed to scale. So we need to build a robust infrastructure. And Simeon, my brother, as chief operating officer. So he's doing the daily business, talking to customers, to new ones, to existing ones. And me, I think working in all of the fields. In the beginning, I did customer demos and a lot of programming and also a lot of design and the marketing. So I helped where it was needed.
Okay, wearing all the hats just to oversee the
Yeah,
operations.
yeah.
Wonderful. But again, like maybe not the most comfortable question, but I know you lost two of your co-founders last year, and or was it the beginning of this year? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Last year.
Last year. Okay. So, yeah, maybe you can tell the story, like what happened, and looking back, yeah, you already mentioned that it was good to have basically a team of people who are very motivated about the vision. But
Yes.
would you recommend other founders to basically have as many co-founders as you did?
Let me start by the benefits of having 5 co-founders in the beginning. I think it's very good because you have a lot of manpower while also sacrificing on competitive salary. Because especially when you're bootstrapping, you have limited resources in the beginning, and you cannot afford to pay such a great team at this scale and build a product this quick. And I think that was a major advantage for us in the beginning. On the other hand, we were not prepared for scaling the company in the same setup of co-founders because everybody wanted to have a vote and like shape the company culture, but we were not aligned on the management style and how the culture should be defined in the end. And that this led to a lot of friction later on when the company scaled. So in the summer last year, two of our co-founders, which was Anna as the lead marketer and Oliver as lead engineer, left the company, and it was quite hard. You could say founding a company together is like marriage. So I think breaking up is equally difficult in some ways. And we were fortunate because both of them just committed until the last day and gave their best. We had a vesting plan for founders in place to keep things fair and friendly. So I think we did a good job of keeping the business operating smoothly. And I think our customers didn't even notice that something changed in the background.
Okay, that's great. I think that's kind of the best case scenario. How did it work for the rest of the team? Because, well, you just lose a teammate, and that's kind of painful. You lose a co-founder, that's, well, it creates questions and is, I think, even more painful.
Definitely, it was a really hard hit for the team and also noticeable in the motivation of people. What I learned from it is that people are more loyal to their team lead than to the company itself. So we also saw people leaving because of them leaving, which was to expect in a certain way, but I think it's still hard to see people go and to find new ones to replace the roles. On the other hand, we didn't need to replace all of the roles and also did a lot of just optimization of processes, cutting down channels that weren't effective in the first place. So just overthought a lot of things that we were doing and thought if we really need to replace this role.
Okay, makes sense. All right, so let's talk about the product and like the whole go to market and scaling situation that you have now. So again, you mentioned that you're fully bootstrapped, and this is kind of a, I think, was a bit surprising for me because it's a booking solution, right? And it's a very competitive space, and I would I think, assume that in this situation you would go and find some VC money to kind of boost your growth a little bit. Why did you choose bootstrapping?
I think there's a longer answer to this, because since I started doing business outside of the startup world, creating a good product and generating revenue was a no-brainer for me. So I didn't even thought about raising capital when I started any in the beginning. So without having the first customers or even revenue. And later, when I learned more about the VC-backed startup world and the possibilities, we obviously talked to a lot of investors, but still got the feedback that they didn't understand the differences to other booking solutions and didn't see the opportunity because it was too crowded. So what we decided is that we need to prove to them in terms of numbers that it's working and growing. So we just kept reinvesting all of the revenue and bootstrapped the company to about 1 million ARR now, and yeah, proving to the world that it's working and that people like to have this holistic booking solution instead of the more specialized solutions.
Okay, you are getting in the space where you're very interesting for SaaS Group.
We are not willing to sell yet, but still really fascinating to see what SaaS Group does.
Sure. All right. So, yeah. Well, how did you get the first customer? I mean, I can totally understand why people would be kind of excited about such a solution, especially product go to product hunt or other
Yeah.
product communities. People would love to try something like this. But how did you turn kind of lookers into payers?
So we got the first customer even before we finished the product. And the first customers was actually the co-working space that we started in. We usually worked very hard with our old startup and stayed at the co-working like late at night. And then just before closing the space, the manager went through the space and we got to talk to her and learned a lot of her challenges in operating the space. And they used Microsoft Bookings, which is also a good solution at the time for their meeting rooms, but it lacked a lot of functionalities that were needed to match their business logic. Because in reality, most businesses are unique and complex in their own way. So let's take a co-working space. They have catering options. They have members who pay certain rates and non-members who pay more. They also have key handovers on the weekend, which need to be automated. And they were just lacking a solution that adapts to their business case. And from these insights, we made a deal to develop the first product and have them signed as a customer with a few thousand in funding, actually. And we also reinvested all the money from the event business to kick off Any. And that's how we got the first customer, which is not scalable, but I still would recommend it to anybody who will start a company, to just have someone who gives you insights in the beginning. So they don't need to pay, but it's really good when they are also invested in the idea. And
Absolutely.
later, we scaled by emailing a lot of people, especially universities, and reaching out to them, and also making intros through the network.
Did you go to other co-working spaces?
We tried, but then there was something called COVID, which
Oh,
just didn't allow us to scale in this space, because co-working spaces had to deal with other challenges at the time. So that was paused a long time, and now we are growing really fast in the co-working space field.
okay, that's wonderful. So, yeah, how did you grow from? So you're talking about growth, right, and how you started, especially after COVID, and it kind of makes sense, right? But yeah, what's the growth lever? Like I've seen a bunch of videos on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. It seems like you're kind of everywhere. You're experimenting with a lot of stuff. What works for you?
Yeah, we tried a lot of channels. Not all of them worked. Talking about TikTok and Instagram, it's easy to get a lot of reach, but this reach isn't qualified and it's hard to monetize. So you need to be really persistent there. And it's even better to have a B2C product or a B2B product that is led by individuals who join your product and then like bring it to the company. And for us, we realized that actually people are looking for the solution and there are enough people looking for the solution. So we are focusing on inbound sales. So just placing the right Google search ads, building landing pages, offering webinars is the most effective channel for us. We tried also outbounding, but that was in comparison way more inefficient and costed more than the return on invest.
Okay, so you're, may I say, sales led, or is there still a way for me to go and try Annie if I wanted now?
I'm not a fan of just focusing on either sales led or product led. We are doing both at the same time. Um, Still, we are focusing on the sales led customers because they are driving the revenue mostly, and we are just taking this product led freemium tier as learning. So as challenge on the one hand to improve the product and make it frictionless, and just getting free customer feedback because even though they are not paying for your product, they are giving you feedback, and that's also very valuable.
I also know that apart from Instagram and TikTok, you've also tried something pretty interesting during the OMR conference. You partnered with a phone booth manufacturer. How did you get this idea, and how did it work for you?
Yeah, that's actually a very good story because exhibiting at a fair with a digital software product is very difficult because people like to see and touch things to really experience it at a fair. Otherwise, they can just look at your website and have the same experience. So we decided that we are doing a co-marketing campaign with a phone booth manufacturer to showcase how any will work with these phone booths. So we could just place our room display app, which runs on iPads, at the phone booths and let people check in and book in the phone booths using any. So they had a touch point, got to know the experience and used any without just seeing our taglines and marketing slogans, which is a way better experience, in my opinion, than just having this plain booth. And we got to the idea just by talking to them on a different fair, and they said, okay, let's just partner. I think they also used any before we partnered to manage their booth at a different fair, something like that. And then they just reached out and said, okay, why don't we partner?
Okay, that's great. So they found you. And are partnerships like a big part of your growth strategy in overall?
I think we can do a lot more in this space in terms of partnerships. Currently, we have few partnerships, and we are planning to invest more in it. But still, we need to focus on what's the most effective channels right now, and then build upon this later. Especially when you're bootstrapped, you need to be very conservative with the resources that you have.
Right. So let's talk a little bit more about bootstrapping. Like, what is the priority for you? Like, I've talked with quite a few Bootstrap founders, and they shared really interesting hacks, very different. Some don't hire people, new people into the team unless they have like a 2 year runway for their salary, and some don't invest into marketing unless they have like a cap on their revenue. So how does it work for you? Maybe, some technicalities like this, or, just in general, what's your gut feeling telling you, like, when it comes to bootstrapping, how to navigate it?
I think when bootstrapping, you still need to take risks, but there's no safeguard to. So you need to be cautious with your decisions and double check everything, but still take the risk to grow. Otherwise, you will just grow really slowly and will be outperformed by the competition. So one of the hacks we did is selling features that we planned anyways to customers that were interested before we had them. So we have a roadmap that is mapped out over the next 1 to 2 years, and a lot of features planned, and we can pitch the full ecosystem, the full story to our customers without actually having these features. And then we will just reprioritize the implementation based on what customers are requesting right now. And we in one example, we got to sell a feature like single sign-on for, I guess, 30 to 40,000 euros to a bunch of customers at the same time, and then just prioritize the implementation that we would have done anyways. And this gave us runway and fresh capital during the development.
That's interesting. So, how do you build your roadmap? Is it just based on your vision, or is it vision plus feedback, quantitative, qualitative? How do you work with it?
I think that's one of the hardest jobs to do as a founder, especially when you're a product guy like me. You'd love to do all of the things, but you cannot do all of the features that customers are requesting. And we decided very early that there will be no different versions of any. There will only be one any, and we don't do customization for any customer. But what we will do is we will take every suggestion into consideration and check if it's aligning with our roadmap. One example where we what we didn't plan but still did in the end was closing the platform. So in the beginning, with a focus on co-working spaces, we were only about public bookings. So all the booking pages were publicly accessible through the internet. And we didn't see the need in internal enterprise resource management, which is now the biggest growth channel for us. And we needed to pivot in this case, that we were adding a lot of features to user management, to protecting booking pages, assigning roles, which group of people is allowed to book a certain resource at which rate. And this was a very good insight that we didn't have in our vision or the roadmap, and only learned through customer feedback. So you always need to be open-minded, learn about new problems that your customers have, because you only know when you know. So you cannot just imagine any kind of problem that customers have out there.
Absolutely. So, are you telling me that you're kind of like moving up market, working with bigger companies? And I also remember at the beginning of this conversation, you said that you wanted to right away invest in like good architecture and in a possibility to scale any at some point.
Yeah. I think that there's a multi-step master plan, like Elon would say now. So the first step in our master plan is to build a very, very good and robust B2B SaaS product that helps enterprises to solve their resource management. So we are focusing on the upper market here, because the more complex the problem is, the better any fits as a solution. And that's also what sets us apart. And in the long run, we are planning to extend this and build upon this ecosystem, because when we already have a lot of users having any installed on their phone, using any on a daily basis in the web, we can combine internal booking cases with external booking cases. So let's say you're working at company X and you're assigned a task to organize a conference and you need a larger space. Then you can just search within any to see spaces around you that are publicly bookable, and then just book it, and the invoice will automatically be handed over to your company paying profile, and everything is just seamlessly automated, like with Amazon and Amazon Business.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Should I use Annie for our next founders event? That
Maybe
seems
in a few years you will be able to just search for event locations within any, and also book your internal meeting rooms with any, and have one central space, one login, and one seamless experience. That's our vision.
perfect. Looking forward to it. What's so far, for you, and maybe you could share with other founders that are kind of in the same space, what do you think is the biggest challenge with booking solutions right now?
One of the challenges we are facing is just making the experience very, very good in terms of speed. So just checking the availability in real time without any friction, and also checking it for thousands of resources at the same time. And that's a challenge we are growing into, especially when working with enterprise customers who have up to 10,000 of resources, and we need to search an available spot just with a few clicks. Maybe you know the experience when looking for a flight. You have this loading page and you have to wait like 30 seconds until you get the results. That's what we don't want to have when looking for resources. So it should be just snappy and easy to use.
True. All right. So, in this journey, it's been 4 years, four and a bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, what has been the biggest win and the biggest failure? Could be for you as a founder, could be for the company.
That's a hard question. There were a few milestones when it came to customer contracts. I think the first milestone was the first customer, the co-working space with a few thousand euros in contract value. And then 1 year after that, we closed the first larger university with 10K. And then last year, we were leveled to having the first contract with 100K. So this yields the development in going to the upper market, I guess, which is my indicator for success and also for the quality of the product.
Sounds
And
good.
in
What
terms
about
of
failures?
failures, yeah, there's a lot. We actually did a lot of textbook failures for customer, for startups, which is hiring too fast and before product market fit. So at some point, we thought it's only about scaling the sales team now, and then we hired a lot of sales, and we just realized that there wasn't enough product market fit to accommodate for this sales organization. So we needed to cut again. And also at some point we were just shipping too fast. So we thought, okay, we need to work on all of these features. Let's just ship all of them in the quickest way possible. And then we ended up working on the bugs that were left. So that then slowed us down in the end, even more than just shipping more robust features. Especially when you're working with enterprise customers, I can only recommend shipping very solid features and a solid product to make your customers happy instead of just focusing on speed.
Okay, that makes sense. I may have to break my own rule here and not go to the last question, but I just got fascinated by what you were talking about here of, hiring too many salespeople and shooting out too many features. So with the salespeople, especially, um, I know how hard it can be to just show your vision and teach your vision to other people and get people inspired and get people acquainted with the product in the first place to make sure they can sell it. What was the process for you? Like, how did you start with your first salesperson? What did they have to learn? Do you think maybe, because that's also like a huge topic lately, should salespeople go through support first or marketing first? Or like, what is this first little step before you become the person that sells the solution?
That's funny because I recently listened to a podcast with the CRO of Salesforce in the early days. And he was asked a similar question: what's the best sales onboarding you can do? And he was like, all onboardings will suck at some point. You cannot do the perfect onboarding, and I kind of agree with him because it's hard to accommodate for individual people and different learning processes. The best thing that worked for us is just shadowing a co-founder in the customer calls. So they needed to shadow my brother Simeon, who led the sales team, and just pick up on his phrases, his wordings, how he sells the vision, how he treats the customer. And they then in the next step, they are reversing, switching the roles. So the new hire will pitch the product, but still have the founder as a backup. and also getting feedback right after the call. So there's no delay in getting like written feedback or something. And then they can also teach new ways of pitching the product and demonstrating the features. That's our best approach, which worked quite well in the beginning. Later, we added a few more steps. We already did like a demo process during the hiring. So they needed to do a realistic pitch of the product and walk us through the product, etc. So they needed to learn it on their own before they even got to the interview.
Okay, interesting. Thanks for walking me through this. So yeah, the last question is usually about a hack, right? So anything unconventional or, conventional but forgotten. We like to be reminded of the simple things that worked for you in terms of growth, hiring, sales, anything that kind of boosted your growth or moved the needle in any way for you or any.
Sure. There are a few pieces of advice I can give to other founders that will hopefully work for them as well. The first one is on a personal level. I learned that time boxing is an essential technique for me to just do a brain dump in the morning, which is, I think, the most important part about time boxing. It's not only about assigning the times, but just getting it out of your head, putting it on a piece of paper, and then just prioritizing what's most important today, and then getting it done today. Everything else will come up again or isn't too relevant after all. So that was really a game changer for me, especially as I'm dealing with a lot of diverse roles in the company and working in a lot of different fields, not like most CEOs might do. And the second hack is regarding growth. It's the very popular 80-20 rule. I think it's important to consider what's the most effective channel for the company and then only focus on this channel instead of having 5 different channels and then social media, all going simultaneously, because usually you spend the most of the time just managing all of the channels. But even after like reducing the team and the departure of Anna as CMO, we saw that there wasn't a big miss in terms of inbound leads. We were just focusing only on one channel, and it was like the same results as before. So sometimes you just end up spending a lot of time with ineffective things to do. So think of what's the most relevant. And lastly, also a bootstrapping hack is hire really slowly and think of how you can augment and boost the productivity of each individual in the team. And we actually did this by implementing internal toolings. Just recently, we launched our internal AI copilot for sales. So we created our own plugin for our CRM to help our reps write better emails and have the full context of the deal. We now also see CRMs doing this natively, but it's not as good as we did it. So it's a really good augmentation that we see here.
That's great. I love that, you guys are kind of taking care of this. It's not just, hey, you can do better, but
Yeah.
let us help you. So that's great. I think that also um, brings a bit more like how do you say, like a feeling of the team and like the fact that you're cared for in the company, which is great. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing all the hacks. I mean, 3 is
You're
plenty. I'm
welcome.
sure one of them is going to hit somebody in the right place. But yeah, it's been a great conversation. Like I said, happy to see you here, and hopefully see you again next year at our founders dinner to to learn even more what you're doing with Annie and see where you're at your ARR journey.
Looking forward to it. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you and take care.